Good morning and welcome to Omaha Local. My name is Ken Bartholomew and I'm here along with my co-host and most importantly my friend Kelsey Weedle.
You got my name right.
I did get your name right. I've only been saying it wrong for 7 years. So Kelsey and I are here. You know, we've talked about having a podcast for quite some time, and we're here because the roots of what we want to do is talking about small business entrepreneurship, really kind of helping boost the Omaha community and the small business community, but at the same time focus on the actual communities themselves, the different events that are going on. Whether it's like a Waterloo Days or something happening in Springfield, Council Bluffs, that type of thing. So that's what we're about. That's what we'd like to get going. Each week we plan on having a guest, a business owner, some type of an event coordinator, something like that can help share with us what they have plans for, kind of what the roots and genesis of their business was and some things like that. So I'm going to introduce Kelsey. And like I said, Kelsey and I have worked together for a daily, actually, and she's still talking to me. So
I can get a word in it.
So Kelsey, if you'd like to maybe just say a couple of things and then introduce our guest for the day, that'd be great.
I'm so excited to be here, and I'm more so excited to have Adriana here with us. Today we're going to talk about remodeling, and Adriana owns this incredible business with her husband Joe out in Valley. So Adriana, tell us a little bit about you, your family, how you guys got this business started.
Okay, well, first off, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm so flattered to be your first guest. And of course, there's nothing more that I love to do than to talk about remodeling and myself. So anytime I get a platform to do that, I'm going to take it.
Awesome.
So I appreciate that so much. But Joe and I are 6 years into our remodeling business. Essentially, how we got started and why we got started is just a culmination of so many small things, but the short and long of it is that my husband grew up in the construction industry and worked in various different facets. And so he hit a point in his career where the next step was opening up his construction business. My background is in accounting and finance. Both of my parents were entrepreneurs, so I feel very comfortable in this world, but it wasn't my initial intention to set out to start a company. It just happened very organically that when I was wanting to take a step back from grad school and we were going to be bringing in our fourth child into the world, he came to me and said he really wanted to start my business. And by the time I was supposed to return to work from my maternity leave, he was actually making more money than we both were in our previous position. So I decided to really lean in and utilize all of the marketing tips and tricks that I learned watching my mom work all of those chambers groups and tips groups while I was growing up, and just take advantage of what I knew and really help my husband build his dream. So
I love that. I always love seeing, and I didn't know that about your mom. I love seeing how integrated you are in all of those processes and part of your business. You're always on top of the marketing or the networking and all of these different events you have going on. And I love seeing how you and Joe have grown this business together, but you also have your each individual roles as well.
We have different lanes, and that's something I really love to stress because everybody is so curious about what does it look like to work with your spouse. And the first thing is obviously Joe's my best friend. You guys know him. We both previously worked out with Ken as our personal trainer, so Ken knows us both really well. And I think Ken can also testify to the fact that Joe and I are very two distinct personalities, but we're both equally stubborn and equally passionate. But we've really learned A, how to communicate, and then B, we just have our own lanes and our own facets of the business where you can't both try to be decision makers on every single part of your business, where it's like one person takes the lead in certain areas. We'll confer, we'll discuss, but ultimately one person has to have decision making power just to avoid stupid arguments, really.
So. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed in some of our communication in the past, there was an evolution of like where I would contact you both or email you both, and then it was like, hey, you can just send that to me so we don't fill up his, Joe's email box, that kind of thing. And now I noticed the next step. So now you've kind of taken the next step.
I'm outsourcing even further. So I have a gal who is essentially like a fractional CMO, like Chief Marketing Officer. She handles everything from my website down to like my social media, the scripts, the filming, our Google ads, and then our client gifting. So it's all stuff that I approve, but it's nothing that I'm having to come up with. We chit chat, we have brainstorming sessions. We will do a monthly check-in, but beyond that, it's something that I'm passing off to really free up my calendar so that I can focus on the things that I want to focus on. So it's nice to be at that level of business because it's obviously that next stage. We didn't just start at that point.
That's awesome. So what specifically have you been able to delve deeper into or start doing more in your business now that you have someone handling that marketing? Where are you shifting your focus to now?
I'm really focusing on business development and really kind of freeing up my free time. This is going to be such a hot take.
I love it. It's my favorite
Really
kind of take.
cultivating free time for me to think about where I want the business to be in 3 to 5 years and what needs to happen to get us there, and really diving more so into my personal brand and spending more time in my local community. I recently became the micro soccer director. I'm on a PTSA committee right now for an event that's happening this weekend, but really diving deeper into relationship building just around the Omaha Metro. But we do see our business moving more out west. Fremont is exploding. I think before we know it, Fremont is going to be a really crazy market. And I don't
Right.
think it's crazy to think that in 15 years, Elkhorn is going to connect all the way to Fremont.
Certainly, yeah. You see them melding together already, I feel like.
Yeah, they're already really bumping very close. And so really just focusing on that community now. And like I said, really relationship building and freeing up time to think about what we want to happen next. I'm really hoping within the next 6 to 12 months, we move into home building. And so that everyone will see that iteration of the business, but also that we're bringing on a superintendent and then along with an office manager. Joe and I are really, really interested in purchasing a second business, something within the construction realm that would be complementary to what we currently do. So if anybody's looking to sell their business, reach out to me.
There you go. So actually, just with your answer there, it made me think of three different things, and I'm going to mention all three so that
Go
we don't
for
forget
it,
two
yes.
of them. But one of them is the community involvement that you talked about. The other one is balance of family, because you
Yes.
talked about 4 kids and then everything that you have going on. But with the social media and the outsourcing now and how you're working with that, I know that I've noticed a big change for you and your company, because before, we all start with that generation of like, hey, let's get some Facebook ads out there, let's email the people that we know, that type of thing. But literally, you're popping up almost every time I open up my phone now. So
I'd love to hear that.
no, and it's great. So that's what I'm
It's true,
saying. So
though.
whatever
Kids
you're
don't-
doing is working. So I'm sure some of the things that I'm seeing are probably as brief as 30 to 45 seconds, and then some of them maybe a couple of minutes. But just, kudos, it's working. So are you feeling that on your end too with the business?
Yeah,
And you enjoy?
we've definitely seen an uptick in leads. We normally stay around $1 million in sales annually, and we're really doing a big push to hit at least 3 million. I think if we can move into home building and consistently produce only 3 to 6 homes, quality is very important to us. I don't need to be a ginormous company. That's
Right.
not the point. And I really love that you talk about family, because I actually have 5 kids. I really want to put that out there. So if you thought I was impressive before, I just really want to emphasize I have that 5th child.
All under the
And
age
they
of
are
6,
young.
I think,
Yeah.
right?
16. They're spaced out, unfortunately. Kudos to those moms who are doing that, the 5 under 5. But the goal has always been, how do we enrich our personal lives along with how do we enrich our clients' lives? Because I think business is so much about people. And I think sometimes, to me, success is being that person who's so heavily involved in the community and makes her community a better place, but is also enriching like her clients' lives. Like, I feel like the way that we do remodeling is the best way to do remodeling. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. I think it's the easiest way, the smartest way. And then also, like, that's what defines success to me. And so I feel like those go really hand in hand. And so that's what I'm really trying to pursue and push out there with my personal branding.
I love that. And I love that you have found a way that works for you and your family to do that. I feel like I see a lot of businesses get so involved in the day-to-day, and they're trying to do a million different things at once. So they're not able to think out 3 to 5 years in the future, or where they really want to emphasize their interest in the business, or how they want to grow, or how it's being ingrained into their personal lives instead of vice versa, So it's great to see you guys flourishing in this incredible way that you want to do what you're doing, how you're wanting to do it, while also being such a big part of the community and being involved in your kids' lives, the community, nonprofits, things like that around the area.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
I feel like in the beginning, as an entrepreneur, you have to say yes to as many opportunities as you can take on. But then there's that tipping point where you have to start saying no to things. And it's not because you don't think they're good ideas, but just because they don't align with your values and where you're heading. I think the best thing, I feel like entrepreneurship is really a mental battle. The better that you can get to know yourself and what you're trying to accomplish, the easier the journey is going to be. And I feel like entrepreneurship is really glamorized right now because of social media. And I think that if it's calling your name, you should absolutely take the opportunity to pursue it. I just think that you need to understand the mental obstacles that come with it, that it can be extremely lonely and isolating because it is not like the common career path that your family members are going to take, your friends are going to take. So you need to make sure that you build a good support network around yourself and then just really get very prudent about where you're going and why.
Absolutely. I think that's such an important part of business in general. If you're not surrounded with like-minded people who kind of understand where you're at and what you're doing, and while you're also at a soccer game, you have to email back a client right then and there. And it's difficult, I think, for people who are not involved in entrepreneurship to understand that. So it's great that you're finding this balance with work, life, your husband, your kids, all of these 10. I say every day I see Adrian, I say, I don't know how you're doing all of this. I have 2 kids, and some days I am drowning. But then some days everything clicks, and it's fantastic to see your business do that. So what is really clicking for you right now? What are you seeing in remodeling with your clients? What is vibing with them, with you? What are you liking that's happening in the remodeling?
This year has been really crazy that I do not think that we have ever seen as high of an inquiry, like as far as requests for bathroom remodels. I feel like this is the year of the primary bathroom remodel. I believe interest rates are at an all-time high, and so it is really convincing folks who aren't interested in moving to pursue remodeling and to go ahead and make those edits to their current home. And I also think that consumer confidence, like every consumer like confidence report that comes out tells us that people aren't feeling great about the economy. And so that's another reason why there is such a hard social media push, is I feel like it's going to be that much harder to sell because your pool is that much, the depth isn't there that it was before, like during pandemic days. So just really being
Absolutely.
vigilant about that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
No, I love that.
I wanted to ask you too, Valley Construction.
Yes.
Okay. And you'd mentioned Fremont.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's a geographical area for you? Because you're not necessarily, I mean, that's not your, I mean, it's your backyard, but it's not necessarily the only places that you offer certain
So
services.
I would say we don't really love to go to Papillion. So if you live in Papillion, beautiful suburb, you made a great choice, great school system, but we don't want to come see you. Basically Millard all the way west. We are really looking to go all the way out to Wahoo. So I would probably say Wahoo to Millard, Bennington, Gretna, all of those surrounding areas.
Nice. And then I also wanted to ask, I noticed in one of your recent videos that you were talking about kind of a pricing structure, or there's some kind of I'm trying to remember what it was, but I know that we've talked before, and it's like some people that are considering doing some remodeling, whether it be a kitchen, a bath, that kind of thing, which I feel like those are the things that help sell homes, right? Bathrooms and kitchens. So, but is there like a one price that somebody should have in mind? Is there something, are they fooling themselves, or?
So pricing, it is very expensive to remodel right now. We never saw materials really go down to pre-pandemic pricing. So kitchens historically, we're seeing them at about $150, to be completely transparent. I've never seen an addition come in for less than $175, and basements really are sitting at $100,000 if you are putting in those bars and the bathrooms. But as far as our pricing structure, because I come from that like financial accounting background, it's really important to me to be diligent with our customers' money. And so we offer a fixed price, which is extremely rare in this industry. I feel like our industry, unfortunately, is notorious for going tens of thousands of dollars over budget. And so what happens essentially is that these guys come in and they give you allowances. And
Right.
so the price when you sign it looks great, but then when you go into the countertop store, you realize that your allowance isn't going to meet your expectations or what you
Right.
are looking for in
Yeah.
in your kitchen remodel. So essentially what we do, our bidding process is longer because it is more thorough. We're attaching a price to everything from your fixtures to the cabinets to the countertops to the cabinetry pools. And so what that means is because we have bid everything out, the price that we are presenting to you before we start construction is the final price. The only price changes that our clients see is when they are adding on to the scope of work. And so that I think is a huge differentiator and what makes us so special in the Omaha market, because we're currently the only remodeling company offering a fixed price.
Right.
Everybody else is just giving you allowances. They're kind of just rushing you through the sales process and trying to get you into demo. And I don't
Yeah.
want to demo anything until I know how much it's going to cost and
Right.
that you're okay with the price, because I have 5 kids. If I was in a remodel situation and halfway through it, someone said, I'm going to need an extra 30 grand.
Right.
Absolutely.
I don't want to be the client in that situation, and I definitely don't want to be the contractor in that situation. I just don't think anybody wins, and I think it's such an archaic way of doing business.
Right.
I don't understand why we're not doing it this other way. It's just like in any sales process, the longer the sale takes, the enthusiasm does
Wanes.
get dialed down. And
Yeah.
so it's one of those things where it's like we choose to do business the difficult way because I don't ever want to be in a situation where I'm coming back and asking somebody for tens of thousands of more dollars. So
But I think when you say the difficult way, it actually ends up being easier
the
in the long
easier
run
way.
for both you and the
Yes.
client, because nobody wants to be in that high pressure situation where they're like, it's only going to be 3 more grand for this and 6 more grand for this, and then you're looking at an additional 20, 30, $40,000 at the end. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to be in that position on either side. So I love that you've come up with this innovative way to price it that makes you sit back and go, why is this not common sense? Why is this not the standard of practice in our field?
And that's
And
what
I think that's going to change soon now.
a lot of guys sit down and meet with Joe and I. And I really am hoping within the next 5-10 years that will be the standard practice in Omaha. But I think that we're kind of the guinea pigs. And we have people who are 10 or 15 years down the road in remodeling. And I know they've got their eye on us because I see them copying our social media.
Yes.
I mean, we have the conversations, like we are really pioneering this way of how to price out projects. And I think once people see that Joe and I have been in business 10 years doing it this way, I'm hoping it will encourage more people to follow in suit. And I know that sounds kind of wild to say that out loud, but at the end of the day, I cannot remodel every kitchen in Omaha.
Right.
And I would like to see my industry be looked at in a different light.
Right.
Like,
Quality.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Because you're right. There can be a bad.
Oh, there's definitely a negative
Right.
connotation with it. And that's why I think video is so important in my industry and doing all the social media pushes that we do. Because if people can put a face to Valley Construction, they understand I'm a human being. They want to buy from me more versus just being a regular Instagram account with before and after pictures.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of just small businesses and entrepreneurs in general kind of miss that mark. And it's not intentionally, but every client I've ever had for that, it's difficult to explain to them, why are you not putting out your story? You're so passionate about this restaurant that you started, this way that you're doing business, like with your price fixing. Why are you not out there telling your story, telling why you're doing this, telling why this is so important to you? Because I've met so many people like you and Joe who are so passionate about what they do in Omaha, and I feel like their stories just aren't getting told. So I love when somebody is willing to take the time to reach out via social media or have somebody take care of that content and tell their story. I think it really helps grow their business and also the integrity of their business as well. So you can get your message and your new way of doing things out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's like my number one tip to somebody who has a small business, if they're an entrepreneur and they feel like they're not getting enough sales, like post a video from your phone that is selfie style and just throw it up on your Instagram
Right.
and your Facebook. You have nothing to lose. Like, you have to be willing to be shameless in like the pursuit of like being salesy, of pushing your brand. And if you're not, I do hate to say it, I don't think you have like what it takes
Right.
to
Right.
push it.
Yeah, and the thing is too is I think where some people might get apprehensive is they're just like, oh, I don't like the way that I look on television, or I don't like the way that I look in a video, but that's really how you look.
It's
I
not
mean,
that
it's just
only
I'm just saying it's how
that.
people see you.
I was like 90 pounds overweight at certain points, like shooting social media
Right.
stuff. And at the end of the day, it's like I was, okay, this is going to sound terrible, but it's like I was still overweight. Like me being overweight, I can't hide that from the customer.
Right.
At some
Or
point,
postpartum,
they're going
or-
to see
yeah.
me. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So it's
Well-
like, why are we hiding and why am I nervous about what other people think of me? It's like, you have to care more about closing the sales and having a successful business than what Betty Sue down the street's going to think of
Well,
you.
and I think people like that honesty and that transparency, and that's more so today than I think ever. As a matter of fact, just so everybody knows, I actually wrote down the name of our program so I wouldn't forget. But I kept thinking, I'm going to mess this up somehow, so I'm going to write it down. But no, so that's, I think, one of the things, and again, I was talking a minute ago about a few things that came to mind. What are you seeing in remodeling? I know that, like gray was a big.
Oh,
No,
Mine
yeah,
was
the
gray.
gray went out.
Okay,
and
so
then-
that started. That's kind. I
Yeah.
know that there's some like gold coming
Don't
back
tell me
in.
Golden Oak is coming back in.
Well, it'd be good news for you.
I know. I've been staring at these cabinets
So-
for quite a while thinking about calling
But
you.
what I'm saying is that I know that there were, like grays were a big theme, and then you see the flooring and so on and so forth. Is that we're rolling out of that? What are you seeing now with or what
So,
people's likes or
I
what
feel
you
like
recommend?
People are really loving square tile. I think we're seeing more of this like organic kind of look. I am not the best person to sit here and tell you what the trends are because
Okay.
we work with local interior designers. And so, again, not my field house. I'm just behind the numbers, you guys.
Right.
So, but I mean, I see the end products. And I think also, too, the nice thing is because Joe and I don't lean heavily into one aesthetic, we kind of are everyone's contractor. Like, we have
Absolutely,
done a
yeah.
kitchen remodel where, like, we pulled and replaced, and it was like the same exact stuff. I'm not even kidding. Just the newer version.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what she wanted, and I'm happy to do
Right,
that.
right.
You know, so. But no, grays are definitely out. I feel like it's more natural tones, like this organic kind of vibe.
It's
It's almost like reverting back to that color palette of like the Tuscan, like 2000 era, but like
Yes,
in
that
different
terracotta color
materials.
scheme.
Yes,
with these
yes.
natural fibers. I've been
Yes,
seeing a lot of
yes,
that
a lot of browns, like
So if I wanted to, sorry, if
No.
I wanted to do like a total bathroom remodel,
yeah.
or if I wanted to do a kitchen, I'll just keep it at those two. But how long of a time frame? Like,
Yeah.
what could I expect?
So it depends on you as a person, Ken. And I know this is the most annoying
then let's answer as me.
ever. But really, because our interior designers can get a design out to you within 2 to 4 weeks.
Uh-huh.
It's really up to the client as far as like, are you doing your homework? Do you know what I'm saying? A
Right.
lot of our interior designers have an intake form where you go in and then you submit photos of things that you like. And sometimes people really get stuck even at that part of like, oh my God, you know?
Right.
Absolutely.
So it really just depends on the client. Really, best case scenario, it really shouldn't take more than 6 weeks to get you through design into a bid. Is that always the case? No. Like I have a client right now, we're remodeling 3 of their bathrooms. We started with them in November. She still is really struggling with trying to identify her design style. And so
But once the day of demo from, how long does it take? Once, I mean, you come in, you tear things
yeah,
down. Is it
so that's
30-day
really
thing?
dependent on
Size
where
of
our
project.
guys are at.
Okay.
We are set up like a custom home builder, and
Okay.
so we have a specific crew that we only trust to demo, and we will not let anybody else demo. And so it really depends on what his calendar is like. If we get really lucky, it could be 2 weeks from the day you signed your contract. We're in there, we're moving. If you get unlucky, it could be 6 weeks, and it just
Right.
really depends on where things are landing.
Okay.
So.
Okay, nice.
Absolutely. Well, I know how there's so many, just talking to your husband here and there alone, there are so many different kinds of soft closed drawers. I had no idea the different amount of fixtures you have to
Yeah.
choose from, so I can see where that would be an overwhelming process.
Process.
But I love that you don't get pigeonholed into a certain style.
Yeah.
You know, he's always teaching me about a new kind of outlet or a new kind of thing. And then you can reach out to your interior designer and incorporate that into the way the client wants instead of kind of presenting them with this palette of different options.
Yeah, absolutely. Decision fatigue is a real thing, you guys.
I couldn't do it.
So I don't, if you had another question, I had a question I wanted to ask. Is there advice that you would give a homeowner who might be considering
A remodel?
a remodel?
I guess my first bit of advice, if I was a homeowner that was going through the remodeling process, my first piece of advice is to really evaluate how long you plan on staying in the home. If the answer is not 5 years, do not do anything with your home. Like, just stay with it as put, especially with the way pricing is. Anything you dump into the home at that point, you are not going to get a return on. So if you are not planning on staying for more than 5 years, really closer to that 10-year mark, do not even waste your time trying to call people unless it's just really, really bugging you and you're okay with risking your investment. The second thing I'm going to say is really allocate a budget. Really figure out if you're going to be able to pull everything from savings or if you're going to need to do a cash out refi or if you're going to need to get a HELOC, and start calling local lenders around town to really figure out what that firm pricing is. People are always so hesitant to disclose what their budget is going to be to the contractor, but the more that I know, the more I can make sure we're staying on track and we're not designing or producing a design that is out of reach for you. So it's also one of those things where it's like, as a homeowner, you need to do your homework so that you can then share that information with your trusted contractor. But that's really my main advice. And then obviously, yes, like, look, we have so many talented local interior designers in Omaha. We are really, really lucky. And so just do homework and kind of see who you might want to work with, and just really take it from there. And honestly, just have fun. Have fun. It doesn't have to be stressful. Have fun. It won't be as bad as you think, I promise.
Nice. So one of the things you talked about, and I think this kind of rolls into the other topic areas that we want to discuss and talk about community and some of the happenings and that type of thing. So just us rolling into that, what are some of the things from a community standpoint that you're involved in? I know that out in your area, there's Waterloo Days, there's Valley Days, there's different runs and walks and things like that. It's a lot of school stuff.
Yeah.
So is there anything specifically that you see that's coming up in the next few months or coming up this summer or that you're involved in currently?
Really?
You mentioned micro soccer.
We've got
Micro soccer is kicking off this weekend. I'm the micro soccer director for the DC West Youth Sports Organization. Right now, I would really say that organization is struggling with funding. A lot of our old fundraisers that we used to be able to throw are really shifting. So it's kind of a transitional period. I believe the VFW in Valley is getting sold. And so that is where year over year they had a major fundraiser. So really, if you are passionate about child sports and building children's self-esteem, please check out their website and make a donation. But yeah, so that's
I
something.
can tell what committee you're on.
But no, I really just try to be hands-on at the school with donations because I just think funding is something, especially with the economy being where it is, a lot of organizations are really struggling with it. So
Absolutely.
So, over the coming weeks, Kelsey and I, we talk about Valley, we talk about Waterloo. We're going to, we want to address all areas of Omaha, Benson, Dundee, Millard, the Old Market area, Northo, Southo. But even outside of that, the Nebraska cities, we want to, there's events in Council Bluffs, obviously, things like that. We want to help promote all areas, talk about all the events and happenings so people get out. There's so many things. Kelsey here goes out, and again, she has younger kids, but I'm always amazed by the number of things. I'm like, where'd you go or what'd you do?
Omaha always just has so much going on. You can
The
never...
library stuff, the Lawrence and Gardens, things like that. And I don't know, Kelsey, if you've got a few things in mind that are
Oh
coming
yeah,
up
I've got a whole list of things for you going on this weekend. One big thing is, like you said, Lawrence and Gardens, one of my favorite places to go, and also take my kids of all ages. It's great for them. They are featuring an art exhibit made out of bricks right now.
Very fun.
It is so cool. They always have an artist come in and do an entire display. So that's going on now through the month of April, I think into May. We've got quite a few things going on this weekend too. So local artist Tanner Sovereign will be playing at the Industrial Bar and Grill this weekend on Friday at 8 p.m. Saturday, we've got Scouting for America will be out canvassing neighborhoods in the area this Saturday. So if you're unfamiliar with what Scouting of America does, every year we do, on the Saturday, they will go out, canvass the neighborhoods, and put food bank donation request stickers on your door. You might see them stuck to your front door, to your mailbox. And the next week, it's a super great, easy way for you to donate to local food banks. You can just leave out, so that'll be the next Saturday after this Saturday, a paper bag with canned foods, and they will come and pick those up and take them directly to the local food banks in our area. That's one of my favorite things that happens in Omaha. 108th and Fort Hy-Vee is having their candy carnival. If you want to stuff your kids full of candy, they've got games, prizes, all sorts of fun stuff going on Saturday at 11. And the Benson branch of the Omaha Public Library is also doing a cool interactive workshop on Saturday. They are partnering up with No More Empty Pots, which is a local nonprofit located over in North Omaha, on different ways that you can grow sustainable food resources. And that's Saturday at 2 p.m. Going on all weekend long is the Omaha Holistic Expo. So that'll be going on Saturday and Sunday at the Scott Conference Center. That's going to have over 70 different local vendors. It's going to have local practitioners presenting different treatment options and different new innovative strategies in healthcare. That'll be happening this weekend. Then we've got, a couple more things going on. We've also got the Walk to Cure Arthritis. That's happening on Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. over at Dave & Buster's in the 133rd Street Plaza. If you're interested in participating in that, you can sign up and register at the event at the time of the event. No need to do anything beforehand.
Nice.
Very
nice.
cool. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely. Are
thank
you
you guys.
attending any of those this weekend?
No, I will not be. My Saturday is so packed, it's not even funny, you
It's
guys.
difficult time of
So,
year.
Yeah, I think ours is going to be spent cleaning garage and the yard and stuff like that.
spring cleaning season.
So
Are you
Ad-
finding is an uptick when people are spring cleaning out their homes? Do you see an uptick in calls where they're like, I need to redo this?
No,
can't handle
I
this
think
anymore."
everybody, the common consensus is I don't have enough space. So
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to help you create some more space.
I love that.
Well, awesome. Thank you for coming, Adriana. I know you had to juggle around your schedule, and then we juggled ours for you. So there
No,
was-
thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. I
Absolutely.
can't wait to be back and to
Yes.
listen to the next episode and see who else you guys have coming
yes,
on.
thank you so much.
excited
We're
to
looking
have you.
forward to it.
Cool.
And Kelsey and
Thanks for
I
joining us.
will be communicating different ways to make contact with us. Maybe you have some local event, some happenings, some things like that, a small business you'd like to help us spotlight. And in
Yeah.
upcoming weeks, we'll communicate that and make sure that you can connect with us. So
Yeah, absolutely. You can always reach out to us via email too. You can email Ken or Kelsey at thedirectimpact.com if you've got a local event or a nonprofit organization or something you'd like to promote for that weekend. Please reach out to us. Let us know. We'd love to feature it on the show and look into. We're also always looking to feature these amazing local business owners like Adriana. We love hearing her story and how she's succeeded, as well as creating these new innovative pricing strategies in her field. And there's always such a variety of things you can learn from interacting with other entrepreneurs, their struggles. So it's great to have you here.
No, thank you guys so much.
thanks so much, and thanks for joining us on Omaha Local.